Podcast, the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show, each weekday 1 to 4 p.m. on KFEQ. When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, she often feels alone and afraid. So many times her first response is to seek out an abortion and search for a location close to where she lives. But because of the generosity of listeners like you, that search may lead her to a preborn network clinic. There, she will often make a very different decision. She'll choose life for her baby. Preborn's team members offer her love and compassion and provide a free ultrasound to introduce mom to the tiny baby inside her. It's often why Preborn sees 200 babies saved in a single day.
That changed my life. Just from that ultrasound picture, I'm going to keep my baby, and I'm going to keep growing, and I'm going to be a great mom.
Your tax-deductible donation of $28 sponsors one ultrasound. And now, through a match, your gift is doubled, saving twice as many babies. Please donate today. Just dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, say baby. Or go to preborn.com/BUCK. Sponsored by Preborn.
What? Only two?
Now the most up-to-date weather forecast here on KFEQ. Partly sunny and breezy today with a high temperature in the upper 70s near 80. Scattered clouds through tonight till mid to upper 50s. Then sunny, slightly warmer on Saturday with a high 83. Saturday night's low in the mid to upper 50s. And for Sunday, sunny with a high 83. I'm meteorologist Ann Holiday. With severe weather in our area, make sure you're listening to 680 KFEQ on 95.3 FM for Up to the Minute. Sponsored by Affordable Insurance Solutions. Call 676-2886. When others say no, AIS says yes. Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pools. Then when a new canoe pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make these personalized discounts for the commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
You know what hope is? Hope is action. Carving a path forward, even when it's hard.
And kids who still know how to dream. They're the best at finding it.
So at Child Fund, hope means helping millions of children living in poverty worldwide to grow up healthy, educated, skilled, and so all those good things can come true for them.
Why? Good. During the Royals in the postseason, right?
It was team. It was campaign.
Oh, the whole entire team.
For one.
What's going for an MVP? That's Bobby Witt.
I'm gonna cry.
The best place for treatment is far from home.
And the Royals quenched.
Children's Cancer Society. Children
I have
living
never
in
been
cancer
working.
can visit our cities. Whether it's
I'm
across
gonna
town or
my
across
promise
the country.
plan. I'm gonna cry.
Learn how we
What
get
the
cancer
fuck?
hope
One
and
time,
give their
so
children the best shot at survival. Visit thenccs.org.
Yeah, I'm
That's
gonna cry.
THENCCS.org.
I'd be with joy at the Royals quenching.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry. I have
I'm Shanola Hansen. I support the Feeding
They got
America
there.
network of food banks because they help provide over
Well, they
6
got there.
billion meals
What
for
was
people
it?
in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
All the stuff.
got cheese chocolate.
Find out ways to be safe and healthy on the farm.
I don't know yet.
Central State Center for
I don't think it was
Agricultural
me.
Safety and Health.
I did.
University of
Okay,
Nebraska.
I've been to the high school in the Mustang.
3394.
That's it.
680 KFEQ on 95.3 FM. The most
where I've
trusted
been.
news, talk, and agricultural information since 1923.
Yeah, what's the boys? I haven't been there before. I haven't yet.
Welcome back in.
Dad's
Clay
question.
Travis, Buck Sexton
Wait, what's
Show.
game for?
Kamala's
What?
down at the
What's
border,
game?
or will be soon, in
Sheila?
Arizona.
No, I've been one.
And I wanted to
Go
hit
and
you
watch
guys with this. This was just shared by
Yeah, also game I'm talking
incredibly
about.
good-looking Bill Maloof.
The playoffs?
Also happens to have
Oh, no, I've been there or
fantastic
not.
information, particularly as it deals with border-related issues.
Do you have light?
Yeah.
I have
These are real
Go
numbers.
there one day.
13,000 that we know of.
And I've been to high school
13,000
in
illegal
Mustang.
immigrants have entered this
That's
country who have been
What?
convicted of
I've been-
homicide.
I also have been to one reservation too.
15,000 illegal
Right?
immigrants
I mean,
that we
I
know
watched
of
it in
have
Russia,
entered this
watched
country
them and
who have
Jimmy,
been
that's what they
convicted of
did.
rape.
Right.
This is staggering numbers. This is the official number
Bless you.
according to Bill
Fuck me.
Melugin Buck. This is what we know of. 13,000
He just got a
murderers,
video.
The sneeze.
15,000 rapists
Steve?
from other countries.
He sneezed all yesterday.
Our southern border, and are now wreaking havoc
He did.
on American citizens. I mean, I knew the number was
Stan, you
high,
watching this
probably,
video?
Buck,
Do not copy
but
it.
I never would have believed that it was this high.
What?
When Trump has been saying
Just
they
come
are
here.
clearing out
Right?
their prisons and sending many of their
Cheese
worst
fries,
on the
cheese
march
fries,
to America.
no chocolate at Texas.
13,000
You
illegals
did?
who
Did
have
not.
been convicted of homicide,
No
16,000
chocolate at
convicted
Texas.
of rape.
Yeah, he did
And
not.
You Steve?
that is
Yeah.
a pretty unbelievable.
Test your
Trump
cream.
has commented on this, Buck. Said,
You beat Texas?
shared
He
these
did
numbers
before.
and said,
Huh?
Kamala's
He's-
open
he's
border.
originally from
Nobody
Texas.
who has allowed
Oh,
this to happen to our country
what
is
the
fit to be
fuck?
president of the United
What?
Now look
States.
at the window!
Bad time
Dad,
for her to
look.
show up at the border
Look.
today
Look over
after
there.
not going for 4 years. Why didn't
What is it?
she release
Oh,
these
no.
numbers earlier?
Who is
That
that?
is directly from Trump. He also
Who is
said
that?
she should
That's Donald
immediately
Trump.
cancel her news conference because she has failed. Those are Trump commentary. If we had control of our border and control of all ports of entry, people
I get
flying
stuffed
into
bitch
countries from
still.
these places too,
This shirt.
Why?
not a
Look.
single criminal
Always.
should be able to enter the United States, period.
Hey,
If you have a criminal, a serious violent criminal
Right.
record, there should be
There's my
no
one mega.
mechanism for you flying from an airport to go, I'm sorry, not allowed.
What
From
is?
the border to go, I'm sorry, not
I
allowed.
can say it.
Tens of thousands of them coming into the country while Joe and Kamala are asleep at the wheel, actually the force that they want.
Can you take Japanese candy for it?
Security.
Japanese candy?
Steve?
Yeah.
Not yet.
So we'll continue to
What
cover
tea?
this and talk to, or bring you all these facts, and we'll talk to Jack Clark here.
What's the talker?
Several weeks ago,
Huh?
we introduced
Talking.
Rapid Radios. They make a lot of
Yeah,
walkie-talkies
fish
that
stocks
can
that
really
we snack
come
on,
in handy.
it's
Rapid
really
radios
low
are
power,
walkie-talkies
in
with
truck.
a cell phone level.
Sometimes he gets-
Push-to-talk ability.
Sometimes he gets a hot dog with onions in coffee at Love's.
Terry went to the post office for FedEx, and she sent some of our rapid radios to family who are in places where there's down power and down cell phone service because of the huge hurricane that just hit. That just happened here today. We're sending rapid radios to families so they can communicate with us and they can communicate with each other and make sure that they have comms in the aftermath of this big storm that just hit. Rapid radios, my friends, perfect in an emergency. My family just used them. Go to rapidradios.com, get up to 60% off. That's rapidradios.com.
You're gonna mind it, right?
60% off, free UPS shipping, and a free protection bag. Make
I'm
sure
not
you
trying
use
to
the
cry.
code section of the show each weekday. Let them
I
know
want to
the
look at
on
these.
KFBQ.
See it? What?
Why?
Listening to late afternoons on KFBQ.
Hold me a bag, not pound.
Your mark.
Hold it in.
Get your closing room.
Miss
Step
it?
back here.
Trade. December corn up 4 3/4
back.
at the close of 4.18. March 4 higher
Hold it in.
4.35. May corn up 3 3/4 at 4.44
Off tail?
3/4.
Yeah, put it
November
back.
soybeans 24 3/4 cents higher at the close at 10.65 3/4. January up 23 3/4 at 10.83. March beans up 22 1/4 10.95 1/4 October soybean meal finished 19.50 higher 3.43.70. October soybean oil down 74 cents 42.18. December wheat out of Chicago 4 1/4 cents lower at the close at 5.80. March down 4 cents $6.25 pay. May wheat out of Chicago down 3 3/4 at 6.11 1/4. December wheat out of Kansas City 2 1/4 cents lower 5.76 3/4. March down 2 5.91 3/4. May wheat out of Kansas City down a penny and a half at 6.01 1/4. December oats finished today 4 3/4 cents higher at 3.84 3/4. Your local cash grain bids in St. Joseph: yellow corn 3.73 to 3.87, white corn at
Shut the fuck
4.73,
soybeans 10.06 to 10.20.
Right.
In Atchison,
talking?
yellow corn 3.73 to
Where's
3.78.
I don't know who
Soybeans
that is.
10.06 to $10 on a dime. Hard wheat at $5.21. Soft wheat at $4.83. Kansas City truck bid yellow corn $3.73 to $3.88. White corn at $4.73. Soybeans $10.06 to $10.41. Hard wheat at $5.21. Soft wheat $4.83. And soybean at $4.09. That's been a look at your closing grain markets on KFBQ.
What is?
I'm Nathan Speedway.
Hey man, stop.
What's up?
I've never seen so many stations. Hello?
That's a fireworks for
Sweet, I got all the bells and
open
whistles.
day.
Satellite radio. Hey, I was listening.
What's going on, Tigger?
I don't know, right?
Yo,
Is that old?
hold
Open.
on.
Well,
Just got a text. I'll put you on speaker. 2 DVD
You might
players.
do this.
Wait a minute, how do you spell?
Near train tracks, stay focused,
Clean
stay
right now.
alive. Brought to you by Operation
Got your
Lifesaver.
phone, people.
www.oli.org.
Hey, football fans, the season is finally here. Hi, I'm Mitch Lyons, former NFL player and now best-selling author
Right.
and star in a new
Class?
documentary film called The Retirement Deception. I want you to watch this film at no cost because I believe
Car.
America needs to know the truth about retirement.
Done there.
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated. In football, the basics, blocking and tackling, are what wins games. In retirement, protection and income are the key to your success. You don't retire
Right.
on your nest egg. You retire on the
do.
income it can
Yes.
produce. This
Should
film
do.
shows you exactly how to create more income
Stretch.
and protect
Right.
yourself
Why?
from the chaos and unnecessary
Ready, Kurt?
fees of Wall Street. Call today to get your free streaming code to watch The Retirement Deception. You can also schedule a 10-minute call with one of our retirement experts. I think you'd agree 30 years of saving for retirement is probably worth a 10-minute call to make sure you're doing all you can to protect it. Call 833-359-6819.
Why?
That's 833-359-6819.
the farm?
833-359-6819.
Why are you doing
This
my
one as well.
thing with
Your
Dad to
best
put on it
game
for
plan to
stretch
protect,
because
grow,
my
and
size
win
go away.
retirement.
Ever wonder how to make
Right.
your business
Right.
soar like it's been given wings? Many think it's just a game of luck.
I always
But
stretch,
in
stretching,
communications,
helping.
we know it's
That's
about
my
a
little
consistent,
ways.
solid strategy. We give your business wings. Intrigued?
I can
Join
find
us
it.
on October 9th for a
But-
free
Right.
market session
Why?
at the Ultimate
Because-
Timber Art Museum. We'll show you how to reach the
This is
equipment
why I
of
hate
Pat
how
Arrowhead
the
Stadium
dirty.
every day, taking flight with Eagle Communications. While there is no cost for the event, registration is requested. Reserve your seat at sjflightplan.com.
Have you lost no health net? At healthcare.gov, you can find a low-cost, quality health plan.
The plan covers doctor visits.
What about emergency care?
And prescriptions.
All covered and more.
Mustang!
Plus, with
Wait,
the new
Mustang.
law, 4 out of 5 customers
Over
can
there.
find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help.
That's it.
Healthcare.gov
So what's the
is here
car?
for you. Enroll today for
Where's
coverage
Farm?
starting the first
I don't
of
know,
next
Piper
month.
King.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and
Yo,
Human
cart.
Services.
Every 2 minutes,
Yellow.
a woman in the U.S. is
yellow,
diagnosed with
Tigger.
breast cancer.
Kiwi Farm.
And in that
Dollar General?
split moment in
I
time,
don't
her
know.
life changes forever. The toll of breast
It's
cancer
funny.
is great.
My birthday at
The
the
need
foot.
to support those who are battling the disease today is even greater. And that's
What's
why
in that
when
car
others
for?
look away,
Yes.
Susan G. Komen leans in.
For miles?
We're
Try to
fighting
card
for
there,
lost
thing
citations
with it.
because we know one moment can
Yes,
change
it's
a
50.
lifetime.
The windpipe for
Fighting
miles?
cancer takes funding for research to discover the next new
I want to see
treatment,
it like, I want to see
providing
that.
access to quality and affordable health care,
Why?
Right.
and people willing to take action by
What
raising
was
funds
it for?
and raising their voice to advocate for others.
The entire city?
United by hope,
Pause
we
there.
can end breast cancer. Join our fight. Save lives.
Well, dessert heat is 1923. KFBQ. Welcome back into Clay and Buck. We're joined by Jack Pollard.
Right.
He's a former Navy SEAL sniper and now best-selling author. He's got his first non-fiction book that has just come out. I've got my copy here. Targeted Beirut, the 1983 Marine
Did
barracks
you do
bombing,
this?
and the untold
How about you?
origin story
Why?
of the war
Why?
on terror. Jack,
Why
great
you
to
not
have
about
you.
you?
I'm bringing
As
off
always,
as
I mean, I
part
have to say,
will be
the
if touch
timing
my
here
arm.
is pretty
I
uncanny,
can't do that
considering
for
you and I
guys,
are
probably
talking, and
besides for-
the world is basically trying to figure out
Like a flu.
if Hassan Nasrallah is dead under
Right.
a pile of rubble in Beirut. This
Oh my
guy's
God,
been
that
running
she
Hezbollah
hurts.
since the early 90s. What do you make of it?
That's right. Well, I started this thing about 3 years ago when I pitched Simon and Schuster on the idea of a nonfiction series looking at different terrorist events and their effect on U.S. foreign policy, trying to capture those strategic, operational, tactical level lessons learned, while also humanizing these events for future generations so that senior level leaders know their impacts to the decisions they make thousands of miles away from the battlefield and commissioned officers. But yeah, just got off the plane from on book tour and saw that Nasrallah is currently targeted in Beirut.
You didn't tore down.
That is why he's
You
taking
didn't
so
tell
long.
the Damas.
His predecessor was killed back in 1992. He took over back then and is the Secretary General of Hezbollah. And I'm just surprised that Israel has let him live this long, especially with the capabilities that they've had for decades now. And we saw, of course, the pager and the walkie-talkie capabilities to people with those. And I'm just surprised he's still breathing.
No, he fall off. Because, no, I gotta say, I mean, this is bringing this in some ways full circle. I mean, Hezbollah, your book out today, Targeted Beirut, is about what was really the greatest loss of life attack for America before 9/11. I mean, the bombing of the Green Barracks,
For no reason.
a shockwave through the entirety of certainly America and the armed forces back in '83, and it was a Hezbollah operation, in many ways the beginning of the war on terror.
That's right. You had 220 Marines, 18 sailors, 3 soldiers killed that day. There were others killed between an embassy bombing, which happened in April of 1983. Multiple people killed throughout that summer, fall, until October 23rd. And what it did, though, is it taught Iran that terrorism works. And it worked by using proxies. And really, Iran set the rules for the war on terror back then. And it's the model and the paradigm that we've been essentially adhering to ever since. All the way back then. And it was the largest non-nuclear explosion on record at that time in history. And it was heartbreaking, obviously.
Jack, you obviously have to rip many of your stories from the headlines, the Terminal List best-selling book series. When you saw that Israel had managed to explode pagers, walkie-talkies, among other things, of Hezbollah, did you think to yourself, man, that's a heck of a plot point to even be contemplating that they would have that kind of intelligence capability? And how much, given what's going on right now with Iran and all the craziness going on in the world, for you trying to think up different storylines, does part of you say, man, you know what, the truth is stranger than any fiction I could almost come up with?
Yeah, the past 8 years, that has certainly come to be true. If you'd written some of this stuff back before 2016, people would have put you in the science fiction category. Wouldn't have believed that you couldn't have carried all your readers along with a lot of the things that have happened, both in domestic politics here in the United States and around the world. But this pager operation and follow-on attack through another communication device, absolutely remarkable, will be studied for decades, probably centuries to come, and really highlights just the reach of Israeli intelligence services. If it is them, of course, they have not claimed responsibility for it, but it's what we call an upstream disruption, meaning you're messing with something before it gets into the hands of the enemy. And in this case, it either means that they got into these things somehow, somewhere in the supply chain, disrupted the supply chain, or years and years and years ago, they created some sort of a company that would allow them to do this and choose the time and the place to detonate. So absolutely remarkable. And of course, they did it back in 1996, back when you carried around a very large cell phone, and when it broke, you took it into a place to get repaired, and they took out a Hamas bomber that was the engineer. Took him out in 1996, gave him a call, he put that to his ear, and took his head off.
Jack, there's going to be a lot of analysis and thinking over the weekend on what comes next. Whether Nasrallah is dead or not, I think the confirmation that they were going for him, Nasrallah is effectively a head of state in Lebanon, meaning he runs the country, whether they, whatever his title may be, he's the most powerful figure in that country and has been for some time now. Do you see this as likely spiraling into something bigger? I mean, this is always the concern when we talk about this particular conflict in the Middle East involving all of the enemies of Israel. Or do you think that Israel is essentially letting its enemies know whatever you think you're going to do, we will make it so that the cost is so high, not worth it for you.
That's the real question, especially when it comes to a model that was already in place, particularly with hostages, in that Israel would trade quite a few, over 1,000 prisoners that they had for one Israeli soldier. And that happened back in 2011. That released Sinwar, who of course is the head of Hamas in Gaza, along with over 1,000 other terrorists. So that's the real question. The ethical and moral side of it versus the logical side of it, to reset these rules, reset some of these paradigms that the enemy, Iran, through Hezbollah, through Hamas, through other proxies, have been playing by since the early 80s. But it's definitely signaled a shift in that there was a horrible thing to say, an acceptable level of violence on both sides. Meaning, if a certain number of Israelis were killed, a certain number of people in the West Bank or in Lebanon were killed, there was an acceptable level that wouldn't necessitate an invasion by either side or an escalation of the conflict into a larger regional war. And I think that has shifted, and Israel sent that message with pagers, with the walkie-talkies. There's another operation happened almost 3 weeks ago. They conducted a special operations mission into Syria. I think they killed 18 people, dozens wounded. They're hitting a scientific research center in Syria. Captured 2 to 4. I don't have exact reporting, but 2 to 4 Iranians were captured from that site, and they tried to bomb it from the air. It was a precision-guided munitions factory, but they couldn't get deep enough with bombs, missiles to do damage to the actual facility underground. So special operations forces go in, blow it up from the inside. But what was interesting about this is that they used drones as a blocking force, where we would use Rangers to block any reactionary forces coming in from the outside. They used drones to do that.